I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting
Welcome, everybody. This is the night before Thanksgiving edition of Another Damn Fantasy Podcast. It's Dan and Trevor, as always, and we're joined by our good friend Kevin. Bite Size Sports is bringing you the show each and every Wednesday at 8:15, so very excited to jump into it. We're going to do things a little differently tonight. Typically, we're very much all about getting your lineup set up, talking some fantasy news and whatnot. We are going to touch on some of that, but really we want to open it up for Turkey Day, all the different betting festivities, ways you can get invested in the games. Not everybody's team plays on Thursdays, but you can still get a vested interest in it, whether you're doing daily fantasy, setting your lineups, or putting in your favorite parlay. So really excited to jump into some of this material for Turkey Day, and I'll pass it over to Trevor, man.
Man, my favorite regular season day of the year. Playoffs are a different breed, but Turkey Day is the day for football. It is one of the most important weeks to get your lineup set earlier in the week, right? Most weeks, Thursday, you got one or two guys maybe in there. Make sure you are getting those lineups set tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, definitely before all the family show up or you show up at the family's house, because, you know, once that happens, you're going to be sitting there leaving somebody on the bench that you did not want to be on the bench. But Dan, you already mentioned it. Kev is with us here tonight. Kev from The Bounce, from Bite Size Sports, and all the other things that Kev does. Kev, welcome in, man.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Happy early Thanksgiving. I'm very excited. Like you said, Trevor, this is a crazy week with all the early games. I believe we have a Black Friday game now too.
Black Friday, first time ever.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And they went with Giants Patriots, so that was bold. I don't know how many viewers that will get, but hey, football's football, man. I love it. Definitely don't have many Giants or Patriots on my redraft leagues. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if they'll be on your radar.
Isn't it Dolphins Jets for the Black Friday game?
Oh, it's Dolphins. I must have misread it. Okay. I might have looked wrong. Okay, good. Thank you for correcting me, because I looked at that. I was like, are you kidding me?
That one should be a little more interesting than the Patriots game, Patriots Giants.
Thank you for correcting me on that. Yeah, I was looking at, because I was making my bets before the show, and I thought, I was like, oh, are you kidding? I was like, because at first I'm like, all right, Black Friday, I see what you're doing, Amazon. This is brilliant. I read an article about it, like, oh wow, you guys are really trying to take the market there. But okay, Dolphins Jets, a little bit better. At least there's going to be plenty of fantasy implications there.
It would have been better if Rodgers was healthy, I think. And that was the idea coming in, right?
I think it's all the Jets games, right? They got a Monday Night Football against the Chiefs here coming up too. That just doesn't look as pretty as it did at the beginning of the year.
If it was against anybody else, that one might have gotten flexed, right? Aren't they flexing those now?
They're starting to.
They're doing Sunday night for sure. Are they doing Monday night as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think in a couple weeks they're starting to flex Monday nights too, which to me is all kinds of chaos. I would hate that as an employee.
Yeah.
I know these guys are millionaires. Not all of them are, but you know, like I get that they make a lot of money, but still, like how much notice are you getting to like, oh, actually now we're going to play Monday and then have a short week the following week?
And then the coach has got a game plan for that, install that, you know, the game plan, whatever they're going to be doing for that particular scheme, scheming up for that team. That's those are all things you got to plan day by day. You know, when you're going to do your walkthroughs, when you're going to, you know, emphasis on film, when you're going to get your weight training days in, travel times if you're making that move. Like that's very last minute. It's stressful.
Yeah,
and they're doing it to the good teams too. They're like, oh, sorry, go ahead, Trevor.
They have like a cutoff, like 2 weeks ahead, or maybe even 3 weeks ahead. They do have some sort of cutoff when they can't flex the game. Like they do it.
I think there is a buffer. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but you know, even just like, I don't know, I feel like I'd mentally be preparing my team, especially someone who's as meticulous as Andy Reid, just kind of thinking of it from the Chiefs lens. Like that guy probably regiments everything throughout the season, like each and every calendar day. He's got it fully planned out. And I don't know, I could be off base in saying that, but I feel like, you know, a lot of some like Mike McDaniel probably could pivot pretty well. I don't feel like he's much of a planner.
Yeah. Mike McDaniel's a wild card in every aspect.
He flies by the seat of his pants.
Yeah, he does. If you're here with us tonight, thank you so much for being here. I got a quick. Okay, so this has been on my mind a lot. I grew up calling tonight Skanksgiving because it's when everybody comes back home, everybody goes out to the bars, the local bars, whatever. So I need to know, like, do you guys have like a title for tonight, the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, the biggest drinking night, apparently of all, right? Like every year, this is like the night to go. So do you guys have like different? I just want, like, Dan and I are a little bit regional, but Kev being over in Indiana, right? Like, do you guys have something you call this?
Yeah, so I didn't have a name. Well, I would say when I was in Indiana, I wasn't old enough to be drinking, but in Ohio, it's a huge thing for us, to that night before. But I don't know that there was ever a name for it. What were you calling it? Skanksgiving? I love that.
Skanksgiving.
Oh my gosh!
I'm keeping. I wish I'd had that one earlier in life.
I don't, like, Dan, do you have a name for tonight? I don't know why. Like, that's
I personally don't. I mean, I definitely would be like, let's go get hammered, and then we can just good food all day and hungover or whatever. Coming home for Thanksgiving, we always used to, have a rager or two at our buddy's house back in the college days, and I feel like a lot of Friendsgivings happen on Wednesday nights too. Maybe you pregame before you go to the bars and do some stuff like that too. So.
I also heard
is great.
I've also just heard people call it Blackout Wednesday because that's
Oh, I see what they did
Blackout Wednesday, but I didn't know if, like, this is if everybody calls it the same thing, or is this just maybe it's just Southeast Kansas.
Hey, I mean, I think we need to get that trending. I know what I'll be doing.
Are we going to Southeast Kansas next Thanksgiving Wednesday or what?
Yeah, that's right.
Now I kind of have to know.
In Southeast Kansas.
Got to know what this real Thanksgiving's about.
We'll have a live show at the local bar that has about 2 beers on tap. For $2 a drink still, probably.
Hey, $2 a beer ain't bad, baby.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Anyways, thank you all for being here. Jump in the chat if you're here with us. Oh gosh, Lee already in the chat asking if we've gotten over the drops, fumbles, and INTs yet. So this is what I'll say. I wasn't at the game, so Dan, I want to get your opinion because you were at the game. But for me, yes, I am, because now when I reflect a little bit, the Chiefs have lost 3 games. The Broncos game was atrocious. You shouldn't have lost that at all, right? But the other 2 games, you lose to the Lions and to the Eagles. Both teams at the top of the NFC. It's, it's not really all bad. Yes, the offense is bad. Yes, the wide receivers and pass catchers continue to make mistakes, and it's very frustrating. Yes, the second half woes, everything there. But also, yes, this defense is absolutely legit, and L'Jarius Sneed is a damn baller. Like, that dude shut down A.J. Brown. And I love this defense, and Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. Like, I'm not in panic mode like I was last year when the Chiefs lost to the Colts in week 4. I was like, this is it. Like, blow it up. This ain't working. They've gone to the Super Bowl. So
especially after you watch the Colts play the next week, you're like, oh my God, we lost to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dan, what are your thoughts?
Mistake?
Yeah, man. Sitting out in the rain for as long as I did, it was about a crisp 42 in Arrowhead. I think that's part of the reason why I'm a little nasally, a little sick today.
No wonder you're
but but I mean, losing the Lions, hindsight, I feel like that loss just gets a little better each day, knowing the quality of the team that they ended up becoming this year. Losing to the Eagles, the frustrating thing about that is we were in control of that game. And, you can get upset about the drops, the wide receiver issues. That's a real problem, right? And I talked about this at length on the Fastest 40 earlier this week when we recorded. Actually, yesterday we recorded that episode, dropped today. But, my biggest issue with the team is the turnovers. Those are things that should be easy to fix, right? You just got to have a little bit better decision making, protect the ball. A lot of fundamental things can help you correct those particular problems. But I think what was so disheartening about the turnovers in the Eagles game in particular is that they came from Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, the two guys that, you know, are supposed to be relied upon and are head and shoulders, have the highest expectations, head and shoulders above everybody else on that team. And so getting both of those turnovers from those guys in the red zone was like a perfect storm. And then you just put a cherry on top of the sundae with the MVS drop touchdown. And it's like, if one of those three plays goes a different way, we win that game. And so it's just, it really was just frustrating from that aspect, is that, we should be making these plays routinely. Not to get on my Chiefs soapbox here for a show, but that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And I would agree with just like with those two guys being the ones that made the turnovers. That is frustrating. And I was trying to think about it from a different perspective as well. Like it's all in context, right? If the Chiefs are down, say 21-10, score to make it 21-17, and now they're driving for a chance to win the game, doesn't feel that bad. They fell short, of a comeback. But since they had the 17-7 lead, should have been 24-7 with Mahomes' interception, right? It could have been just a blowout. At one point, that's what it was feeling like. So that's what really makes it feel really bad, in my opinion. It's just like the way that it ends up happening.
Yeah, and at a minimum, those three plays wiped out 13 points, right?
Yeah.
That was going to be a touchdown, and we're in the red zone for both of those. At the very least, we get field goals there without a turnover. So that has us winning comfortably. Those things don't happen. So, I mean, those are things they just got to clean up before the playoffs, man. I just feel
I think
like
they will.
I really hope they do. I just feel like with these types of issues, if they persist this long, a lot of times it's foreshadowing as to how you lose in the playoffs, and that's something that I don't want to come to fruition as a Chiefs fan.
Absolutely. Only mistakes in the chat here. Happy Eggsgiving. Is that what they call Wednesday night Eggsgiving? Maybe.
What's up?
Eggsgiving.
Only mistake. So that is a fan from over on the Clout Route. So the eggs. My dear friend Danny is as bald as I am, the host of the Clout Route. So the way they show us love is they put eggs in the chat. So I always know a Clout Router when they show up on another show.
Love it.
They're dropping
That's
some
awesome.
eggs in the chat. So thank you, Only Mistakes. Thank you for hanging out with us. Happy Eggsgiving.
Appreciate you stopping by.
Almost as good as Skanksgiving, almost.
That's right. That's right.
I mean,
and yes,
let's see how creative we can get in the comments here.
What do you call tonight? What is your title for tonight? The biggest drinking night in America. Let's jump into some NFL news before we start. We're going to talk betting. We're going to talk best ball. I did a best ball draft with both of you, so I think tonight would be a perfect night just to kind of dive into where we're sitting on those. and then we'll talk some DFS for tomorrow. The Turkey Day slate, the 3-game slate. It's a lot of fun. But let's jump into some news to get us started. Right off the top, it's old news at this point. Joe Burrow out for the season. How are you guys handling the pass catchers? I mean, obviously, that's where, I mean, yes, it hurts that you don't have Joe Burrow, but Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, it's not good.
T. Higgins has been an afterthought so far this season anyway, -2 performances. I think, the new JB under center for the Bengals, what's his name, Jake Browning? He's got to throw it to somebody, and I feel like Jamar Chase is still going to be that premier guy. But T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, their stocks are dropping significantly. I mean, Chase, I think, takes a hit too, but those two guys for sure fall off the most. I think, honestly, this might bode well for Joe Mixon a little bit more than the others. This spells out lean on the run game, check down scenarios. I mean, all of that.
Yeah, I would agree. The only thing I would add to that is maybe a few more targets to the tight end. Forgive me, I don't even remember who the Bengals are trotting out at tight end these days. But yeah, I think
Herb
Chase
Smith
is going
and Drew Sample.
Right?
I was gonna say, is it Herb? I thought it was Big Herb, but
okay, yeah, that's probably right. I think Chase is still gonna get plenty of targets, but they're not gonna be as many, opportunities downfield. It's probably gonna be a lot of bail me out on this 5-yard, pass here, something there. So yeah, I think PPR you might still be okay. Chase is definitely still gonna take a hit, but yeah, everybody else, I'm with Dan on this one. I would be hoping that you're not relying on any other pass catchers. I think I do have some mix and shares, so I hope you're right about that, Dan.
He popped off pretty well on Thursday night. Glad Joe Burrow threw a touchdown to him before he got out.
Yep. Burrow's not the
Same
only guy
game,
out for the
too.
season, though, right? Mark Andrews from the same game out for the season. What do we got to do here? If we are Mark Andrews owners, we have them on our team. What should we be doing?
I mean,
Sign Gerald
hopefully,
Everett.
yeah, that's my guy. That's my guy. You're speaking my language, Kev.
Let's go, dude.
You are
Yeah, he's
speaking my
available.
language.
Also, when he's been out, Donald Parham has not really done anything. So I think Gerald Everett, if he can just stay healthy, actually would be a way better tight end.
He is the most underrated tight end, man. I love me some Gerald Everett in fantasy.
Same. I stream him. Like he's always there. He's always available. You can stream him when you got to buy.
All reliable.
Yep. There have a couple of drafts even this year where I was like, if I don't get my guy, I'm just gonna wait because Gerald Everett will be there at the very end. I'm just gonna snag him. So yeah, that's what I would do. Otherwise, I don't know who are there any other guys that are available right now that you guys would be looking at? I kind of got lucky. I set mine early.
I think the obvious fill-in is Isaiah Likely. If you haven't, there you go, Lee. Isaiah Likely. I actually was able to snag him in the ADP league. I was surprised no one put a claim in for him there, but he put up some very respectable numbers in Mark Andrews' absence last year, maybe it's the year before even. So I feel like he'll kind of fit right into that Mark Andrews mold. Not quite fill the shoes entirely, but still get some of that work that Andrews was getting. As far as guys that are maybe walking around the wire, Musgrave is hurt as well. I know we're going to talk about some of those Packers injuries here in a minute, but like that, in my mind, that makes Tucker Kraft maybe a little bit more of a viable option going into the rest of the Packers season. Musgrave's going to be on the IR, so just off the top of my head, Gerald Everett, who you mentioned, of course, and then those two guys. I mean, those are two fill-ins. Trev, who do you think could be a potential option there?
I mean, Isaiah Likely is if I had Mark Andrews, I got to go Isaiah Likely. That is the guy. Otherwise, you're just gonna at this point you're just gonna have to stream tight ends. I think Jake Ferguson is still out there in some leagues. He's a viable option. I would be checking him out. I mean, there's no you already mentioned Tucker Kraft, who's a guy that I was going to mention later on when we talk about Musgrave. But there's pretty slim pickings. Now, the thing about it is tight end has been pretty slim pickings all year. Outside of having Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, you're really not, you're not really relying on these guys to have great games every week. So just keep riding that. Jonnu Smith's been a guy that's popped off here and there, got opportunities, and he's not widely, rostered across the league. So there are going to be options week in and week out. But yeah, I think you're pretty well. If you didn't get Likely, then you're probably just going to be stuck streaming tight ends week over week and just hope that you find the right matchups in the right weeks.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be. I agree with you. I've been relying on old David 8-point Njoku all year. It's been old reliable.
I feel like 8 points is not too shabby to get consistently at the tight end position. Way things have been looking this year.
Yeah, he doesn't hit that watermark every time, but that's yeah, exactly. It's nice, like you guys said. If there aren't too many game changers in that position, you're really just looking for somebody who's not going to lay a complete dud for you. So I tend to agree with Trevor's assessment too. Nate, there you go. Nate scooped up Likely. He got here like just too late, like literally 2 minutes too late because we just talked about Likely a lot. But you're probably in good hands, Nate. That's probably your best option.
Yeah, I like that pickup. Over in New Orleans, got a couple of interesting pieces of information. So Derek Carr set to return from concussion protocols. He's practicing. So Jameis Winston, grab some pine. Carr's likely going to come back in there and take that starter spot. And then Michael Thomas going back to a place he's comfortable with, the injured reserve. So he's going to miss 4 games at minimum. Not that
So
you're likely
cold.
relying on him too much. I love this for Chris Olave, but
Yep. Chris Olave, and I think you put down here Rashid Shaheed as well. He's the over-the-top guy, but, maybe a couple more targets go to his way without Michael Thomas out there. The thing about the IR just in general that people need to know, at this point, if you have a player that you're relying on going to the IR, they're done until the playoffs. And really it's like semifinals, maybe championship games. So the IR is at minimum 4 weeks, and we're on week 12, and our most playoffs start week 15 and go 15, 16, 17. So just know that if you lose a guy to IR at this point in the season, even if it's a short-term IR, you don't have him for your fantasy season the rest of the way. Time to move on. And you need to be making moves according to that.
As long as it's not a keeper league, if you're a redraft,
right.
You might as well punt it. I've made that mistake early on in my keeper career. Like, oh, actually, that would have been a solid keeper if I'd have just held on to him for next year. But Zaire Franklin. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
It's the game that we play.
Roll of the dice, baby.
I like to trade those guys in keeper leagues. Ooh. Like, oh, you're at the bottom of the league. Here's Mark Andrews. And then get, a couple guys.
Better luck next year. Here you go.
There you go.
You can have Mark Andrews for next year, and I'll take a couple guys that can win a championship for me this year.
I like that.
Exactly. Too. Cooper Kupp.
Have you read anything on Cooper Kupp recently? I know it was a low ankle sprain.
Low ankle sprain. He's not ruled out for this weekend yet. They're going to see how much work they can give him. There's like a certain routine that they're going to run him through, see what kind of work he can do. Friday is going to be the big one. That's always the big one for any player, really. Judge whether or not they're going to end up playing on Sunday. So, yeah, Cooper Kupp, man, injured again. Was a bummer to see him leave that game early for me last week. I don't know about you guys, but I got mauled with injuries on my teams. Kupp, Achane, Andrews, and come on now. Achane, Andrews. I mean, I got the list right here in front of me.
Jones got hurt. Kenneth Walker got hurt.
Yeah.
Brutal. Yeah.
Those tough. 4 I have on multiple teams, so that was a tough one.
I had Kupp for my afternoon hammer all over DFS last week, and it just did not work out, obviously.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was. He was cheap on FanDuel. Nobody wanted to play him. Great spot, and he gets hurt. Oh well, it happens. Other Rams news: Darrell Henderson gets cut. If you remember, they kind of picked him up after Kyren Williams got hurt. Used him for a couple games. Kyren Williams is supposed to be back on Sunday and playing. I feel like Kyren Williams is a guy that was forgot about. Right, he started off the season pretty well, gets hurt, misses a few games. So while it's very similar to like Devin Achane and what happened there, I just think Achane has a lot more like this. It's probably because he scored 50 points in 2 games and whatnot. But like Kyren Williams was really good at the beginning of the year. So if you've been stashing him on your IR spot or at the end of your bench, I would say go ahead and put him right back in your lineup this week. It sounds like he's fully healthy.
Yeah, I'm pumped for him to be back. I've got him on a Superflex Dynasty team where Hurts and Mahomes are my quarterbacks, so I'm pumped to get him back.
I'm heartbroken. I am somehow a third-place team in a 14-team league where I basically have no running backs because of injuries. So Darrell Henderson and Deontay Foreman were doing some heavy lifting for me that I wasn't expecting from them. So now I'm back to true RB0 now, boys. Hopefully Achane stays healthy, and then I'll at least have one running back on that team.
Yeah. Nate says he traded Jared Goff for Kyren Williams when he was hurt. So that's a way to trade high with Jared Goff and trade low for a guy who's injured. That's a pretty smart way
No
to
kidding.
go about it.
Savvy.
I like that.
Set
You
up
talked about
fine.
A-Chain. He re-injured that same knee. Hopefully, they're going to try him out today or I think it was tomorrow to see how well he does before Friday, or maybe it was today because they had that Friday game.
I hope they just keep him back, man.
Yep.
It's a short week.
like-
It probably doesn't make sense for him to be playing this week, right? Set him this week and then give it an extra couple days for going into next week.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Like the Mostert's there too. You know, it's not like they're
Yeah.
terribly thin at the position. They're like, listen, we can't afford to lose this one to the Jets, so you got to go. No, as watching what the Colts did with Jonathan Taylor, I know it's a completely different injury, but I'm always a fan of play for the long term, especially with the running back this young. Why risk such a bright future for one game against the Jets? You know, I would be safe as much as it's going to hurt my fantasy cause this weekend. Play it safe.
Yeah, if A-Chain doesn't play, Mostert, man, against that Jets, the Jets' run defense is not the elite part of that defense. It is definitely their defensive backs and the passing defense there. So Raheem should have a pretty solid game this week if A-Chain – well, I mean, even if A-Chain plays, but definitely if A-Chain is out. Lee says he had minimum practice today, so I hadn't looked at the reports yet, but
yeah, probably not going to roll the dice on him 2 weeks in a row.
No, I played him a lot last week. It did not work out for anyone.
It definitely was a bummer.
Oh man, he was my start of the week. I'm like, put him in. Don't be a coward. Just put him in your lineup. That's what he's there for. Justin Herbert's made his weekly appearance here in the chat, talking about his Chargers. I'll give you a little shout. Only chance to get rid of our curses is either Harbaugh or Billy Belichick. We'll see there. If you're here with us tonight, thanks for hanging out. We're about to start diving into some Turkey Day stuff. Love to see the chat rolling early and often tonight. Grab yourself your beverage on this nice blackout Wednesday and have some fun with us here in the chat. And we'll definitely answer any of your start-sit questions that you might have coming through. We're going to talk some betting, so let us know your favorite bets for tomorrow here in a minute. Before we get to all that, Dan, a little bit of news about tomorrow's games and some injuries.
Yeah, man. Seattle went through it a little bit last week, and that's going to spill into a short week going against the Niners. So Geno Smith questionable for Thursday night. It's going to be interesting. And then you got Kenneth Walker set to miss some time with his oblique injury. He's technically listed as doubtful, but we all know what that means. He's not playing.
Yeah, I think he's out because Geno was listed at questionable, right? I saw that came out about the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Schefter dropped both of those on us at the same time.
That's what I thought
Thank God,
happened.
Shefty.
Yeah, we look, I would say we'll talk about Zach Charbonnet, especially when we talk DFS, but if you have Zach Charbonnet, this is the week to go ahead and start him. And he's a guy that could be on your waiver wire still. So go check it out and see if you can't pick him up real fast.
He was looking good last week.
Yeah.
Keeping it on Thursday.
Yeah, the Packers.
Packers, yikes. Musgrave on IR, Aaron Jones out. It ended up being a lot less severe than what you were thinking it was going to be, right? Like, I thought, oh, man, this dude's knee's blown out. He had the towel on the head. Yeah. Down, tears coming, getting carted off. And then it's like, I think it was like an MCL sprain, which is something that you can absolutely come back from. Yep. Still tough.
Like
still not ideal.
Weeks, probably.
Yeah. So, but is going to be out. And then I just saw today A.J. Dillon was questionable. And then they lost another running back in that game too. So I don't know what the hell the Packers are going to do.
Paging Darrell Henderson.
Perspective.
He's going to go put 12. I'm going to keep him.
He doesn't have a job.
I know a guy who's available.
Oh my goodness, that is nuts.
Before we jump into our bets,
they're mauled.
We have a couple. I saw a couple of starts. First of all, shout out to Justin Herbert, blacking out every Sunday, being a Chargers fan. So, word up there, man.
Well done, my friend.
Nate wants to know, do we start Mostert over Gibbs this week? Mostert over Gibbs.
I really like Gibbs this week against the Packers run defense.
Yeah, I would be starting probably both of those guys. Is where I would
who's your third?
who's
was
your
that the same one? I think that was the one he said it was Barkley. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Barkley, Mostert, and Gibbs. You got somebody in a flex, maybe?
Yeah,
I
who's
don't
your
know.
flex?
I mean, three pretty solid options there. Barkley was clearly the go-to last week. Just going to keep pounding it with him and run him into the ground probably with Tommy DeVito back there. But yeah, that is a conundrum. I do like Gibbs. If I was picking between Mostert and Gibbs, I would go Mostert simply because he doesn't have anybody else in the backfield to compete with should A-Chain be out this week.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing to base
on that.
Mm-hmm.
Charbonnet tomorrow night or Gus Edwards?
I feel like you got to roll with Gus Edwards.
Let's say Edwards gets the Chargers, who.
Yeah, Charbonnet is going to. I mean, he's going to get all the work, Charbonnet, but he's going against the Niners. They're not very generous.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll get all the work, but I think that I would lean with you there and go with Gus Edwards over Zach Charbonnet.
Yep, same here.
I would love for the Chargers to beat the Ravens. Let's go. I will be a Chargers fan on Sunday night.
Dude,
that would be
They
huge.
better not Charger it up. That's all I got to say. I'm trying to get that one seed back.
That's right.
I think I picked that one for my Pick'em League this week because there were one or two of them where I'm like, you know what? Just like Justin said, this would be a game that the Chargers would win. And I think only 14% of ESPN pickers are picking the Chargers. Like no one's picking them. So I was like, you know what? Here's a spot to gain a point. But yeah, I'm not going to put money on it though. Sorry, Justin. I do love you, brother.
Just the season contest. That's all.
Let's all right. So we were going to have Keebler from Sportsbook Junkies, a show you can find right here on the Bite Size Sports Network. If you're here with us, hit that subscribe button. We're seven subscribers away from 600. We're gonna get there, and Thanksgiving is the holiday of giving. So let's give us a couple of subscriptions there, and share with your friends as well. So we can definitely get to that 600. Since Keebler's not here yet, we're not sure. We know he has some work conflicts, so hopefully he makes it here. Hopefully he doesn't. We can kind of, popcorn this around. Which way you guys want to go? You want to dive into some best ball stuff? You want to dive into some bets? Talk DFS? Where you all want to go here? And maybe chat. If you guys have a lean, let us know.
I know what I want, but Kev, you're our guest tonight. What sounds good to you?
Ooh, dang. Well, I don't know. I don't have a preference. So Dan, if you got something locked and loaded, by all means, I'm excited.
You and I, we did the best ball drafts with Trevor, and so I'm really interested to see kind of how those are looking. I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at right now.
I'm with that. Let me take that beating now, and I don't have to do it in front of Keebler.
It's not bad. Neither one of them are bad.
Okay, because I remember walking away from that thinking, I don't think I did a great job. But okay, nice, very good, very good.
Let me.
I'm excited.
Pull
Let's
this
do
up.
it.
They're not. I mean, we're not winning, but we're not dead, and that's important with best ball right now because we still got some weeks left.
If I'm remembering correctly, I think we had some pretty decent stacks on our team.
Puppy 2. We'll start with Kev's.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we did a 2-6-8-2 with Jacksonville and Indianapolis. So Anthony Richardson obviously hurts because he's done, but still riding that Trevor Lawrence train. Charbonnet now is going to be a starter. So, we've got a little action there. Brian Robinson has been huge this year.
What
Absolutely
a turn.
Huge. How can I feel like I can get to the, here we go. Oh, let me restart this.
Got that Charbonnet in there too. It's going to help out for a week or two, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll just go this way. I thought I could get it bigger, but We'll go right here.
Oh, and Mostert in there. That's all right.
Mostert's in
Most
there.
are putting up points.
Chuba has been decent. So, this year a little bit. And then our wide receivers, as always, just absolutely excellent. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Michael Pittman. Christian Watson hasn't done what we wanted him to do.
Yep.
Got some big weeks from Ridley at least.
Yeah,
right?
we've
Yeah,
used
Ridley started
everybody
off
except
so hot.
for Quez. I don't even know if he's on
Hey,
is he even on a roster anymore.
They opened his 21-day window today. Quez Watkins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Playoffs, baby. That's all it takes.
Let's
Let's just
go.
get into the playoffs, and he can be our guy.
Now he's battling Julio Jones and Zacchaeus for playing time, though.
Not battling much, right? Not battling
Julio,
much.
I kind of forgot.
Julio caught 2 passes in that game. Can you believe that? That Monday night game?
Well, it was a screen, right? A wide receiver screen.
Something like that.
That's one of those they'll never see this coming. They'll never see us throwing the screen to the 40-year-old. Yeah.
Julio Jones. So we are currently in 5th place. It's a pretty tight one here. We are just under or just over 100 points behind 2nd place. Top 2 advance. So we're not completely out of it yet. Whitty is definitely rolling up here with Eckler, Barkley, Montgomery.
Keenan Allen, my God.
Keenan Allen. Pretty solid team here. Mark Andrews, he loses, right?
Yep. That's
that's
a
hit.
Taysom Hill, but
big hit.
This Wilkinator doesn't have a quarterback anymore. I mean, he's been riding Derek Carr, I guess. I've got a league that I've got one of my teams that I'm in 1st place, and every time I open it, I'm like, how am I still in 1st? I'm just waiting for it to die off because I don't have any quarterbacks. A lot of this is definitely like a 0 RB type build. Pacheco, Cook, and A-Chain, but riding these wide receivers who continue to be big for him. So we've got a chance. We just need
Dude,
a little bit of action here. Maybe we just need the Trevor Lawrence double stacks to Ridley and Evan Ingram to just keep popping off for us.
You need some Jonathan Taylor love in there, right, Kev?
Yeah, exactly.
Plenty of Colts, plenty of Jags. They play week 17.
Yeah, we get a Jaguar sandwich maybe? This year. Like start and end the season with those guys. But I hate it, but
that'll work.
I love a good rivalry game.
Team. Not bad, not terrible. And then Dan, your team is also your team's in 4th. Okay.
Let's go. Okay.
Hey, let's go.
And not nearly the gap that Kevin and I have. We're only less than 90 points from 1st place.
Wow, look at that.
Patrick Mahomes get Kyler Murray.
This is how we win.
That's right. I think we took him really late too, and just like he'll be back. Let's just throw it out there.
Yeah, throw him on there.
We got Raheem Mostert, who's really been our catalyst at running back. Everybody else is kind of sprinkled in. Justin Jefferson's coming back, right? He'll be back this week, right? He should be back this week.
Maybe.
Might be on a bye this week.
I don't think they're on a bye this week.
Monday night against the Bears.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they couldn't get the flex in time.
Christian Kirk's been great.
Kirk's been good. Addison's been good. Rashee Rice shows up every once in a while. Jaden Reed, hell of a game this last week. Really,
JMU, Kadarius Toney,
been great. Kadarius Toney is not. Kadarius Toney, Justin Ross, RIP to those guys giving us points. And then the big one is right here. We're losing Mark Andrews.
We got Trey McBride though.
Trey McBride, dude, he's been killing it.
Yeah,
he's been killing
it. And the
it.
Kyler Murray stack there, that's huge.
Yep. So I think we got a chance to kind of slide up again, less than 90 points from 1st place. Lee says JJ is not coming back yet and wants us to look at his team. He drafted against
let's do it.
Kevin and I. So let me go back here to Kev, and Lee is in 7th place with Lamar and Jalen Hurts. Mac Jones, that just feels like a wasted pick at this point. Although he got 25 points from him. somehow, some way.
It's more than we got from Kadarius Toney.
That is right. He's got Gibbs here. Rashad Penny. Oh my gosh, I have so many shares of Rashad Penny. He's done absolutely nothing. Cam Akers is done. He's got Jerome Ford though, so he's kind of down to 2 running backs. It feels like AJ Brown having MVP style year.
Yeah, powerhouse.
Downs has had some really
Nice
good
surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Dalton Schultz, and now he's got Isaiah Likely. So he's on the better side of losing Mark Andrews on this team.
Right. You had Lamar on this team too, right?
Yep.
Very nice.
Lamar and Jalen Hurts. God, did he go back to back, Lamar and Jalen Hurts?
I feel like you would have to.
So this is what I was going to show. I can show this, and show it actually just goes back to the actual draft itself.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, from that draft. We were back to back. So Lee drafted in the 10 spot. Kevin and I drafted out of the 11 spot. And yeah, he takes Jalen Hurts in the 2nd, Lamar in the 3rd. So Richardson in the 7th was such a freaking great pick, man.
What might have been.
Seriously.
It was looking so good. I mean, just with the running alone, it was, and with the way Steichen was drawing up plays specifically for that in the red zone. It was like, oh, you knew you could bank on the occasional rushing touchdown. And yeah, you knew you're going to also deal with some bad throws here and there, but he was doing the little things, right? Like putting some zip on it, fitting it into tight windows, into zones, the little things that Colts fans are worried about when they saw that. What was that? 1 out of every 4 passes from a clean pocket is uncatchable. Say what? 4th overall pick. What? But no, he's cleaned all that stuff up. Yeah. Anyway, one of the things I'm thankful for is that they had the surgery, having a guy. The reason my shoulder up here looks so weird is because I had a level 5 AC joint separation. You actually see a little bit of it right there from my surgery. So yeah, I don't quite look like Keenan Allen, but yeah, it's one of those things. You can recover from it. It's weird. I have more range of motion than I had before. Like I can scratch places on my back post surgery, post physical therapy that I couldn't have reached before. Now granted, I'm not a pro athlete and it's not my strong hand. So I was very blessed there, but the surgery was the right move. And I think the Colts will be set up for a bright future. Honestly, I'm a little, don't tell the Colts fans I said this. I'm kind of bummed at the games that they are winning right now because a wild card team that loses its first playoff game does nothing for our draft stock next year. And so
That's
like
true.
I was one of the few fans that was like, oh yeah, they stole that Browns game from us. Shoot. It's like, that's a win-win for me. I feel like my team's a better team, but we get the loss for next year's draft pick. I'm good, baby. That's what the Pacers did.
Looked competitive. That's great for the future.
Exactly. It's like, give me that hard-fought losses. All right. That's what I want. And a top 10 pick.
Well, then they will. Because they got the Bucks this week. Man.
Which anybody's game.
The Colts don't have a terrible remaining schedule. They got the Titans, now the Bengals without Joe Burrow. The Steelers have been inept on offense. Falcons, who knows what they're gonna. The Raiders and then Texans.
Yeah,
like it's
the
not
Texans
a bad.
Might be the hardest out in there.
Yeah,
not a bad
for real.
schedule.
Who would have thought that coming in?
Yeah, they're really. It's a miracle. I mean, I had that team winning 6 to 9. I mean, 9 was my being generous. I had them as like a 6-win team this year. They've already won 5.
The Texans.
No, the Colts. Sorry, yeah, about the same probably for the Texans. Yeah, honestly, but yeah. So the fact that they're 5-5 with this easy schedule, it's like, well, I don't blame fans for wanting that wild card game, but I just doesn't do it for me.
Richardson wouldn't come back at all.
I don't think so. I think they just decided to shut because I don't think they were considering
practicing
it. Though.
Next week, Kev, come on, man, and he tore his Achilles. What is Richardson doing?
Yeah, that's right.
Different medicine or what?
He needs to call those doctors, man. Get that figured
Yeah,
out. That's still a miracle.
Stuff. I can't believe it. I really can't believe Aaron Rodgers is going to be on a field next week. So he says.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly. Lee says that Drew Brees can't throw a ball right-handed because of shoulder surgery. I mean, I believe it.
Oh,
The NFL,
Yeah,
I mean, it's tough.
well,
he came out on a show this week and talked about that a little bit. They were asking him, did you get any feelers put out there for you to make a comeback after you retired? And he was like, yeah, that first year, I had a couple teams reach out, but I just cannot throw with my right shoulder. Pretty much anything above about here is a no-go for him at this point. He just has it's degenerated so much. So yeah,
That's
I mean,
well, yeah,
tough.
that's fair. Yeah, that's well, I guess as far as his career goes, it held through for the most part. Like he was able to. He had some prolific seasons because I want to say the shoulder surgery was pretty early in his career, right? Wasn't that why
it
they
was with
kind
the
of punted on him
Chargers.
with the Chargers, right? And then he ended up in
Yeah,
Miami for a year, I think, or no, he didn't end up in Miami because they got Dante Culpepper instead. That's right.
yeah. And then he went to
Oops.
New Orleans, and he was with them, yeah, obviously until he retired. But the dude threw like 5,000 yards multiple times, like 2 or 3 times, I want to say.
So it should hold up. I mean, that is good to know. Hopefully, that's one thing. The last thing I'll say about Anthony Richardson is I hope that injury, because the concussion he suffered was because he let up early on a play, got pushed like basically on the last yard walking into the end zone. I hope that this is a big enough of a wake up call to be like, oh yeah, I have to play differently or my career will be
Right.
over. So
Yeah.
sorry. Appreciate you guys for the Colts tangent. I appreciate you. That's very much in the giving mood of you two.
We had to go. We had to go on a Chiefs tangent earlier, so you know how it is. Do you guys want? Okay, so we can do a couple things here. We're already on Underdog. They already have playoff best ball going on, so I am dying to do a draft for that. We could do a draft there. We could also do a Turkey Day draft and just do a draft for just tomorrow. What do you guys want to do?
I mean, I'm down for
Do
both.
I don't care.
Yeah, I've got enough time for both. I mean,
Let's do it.
if we're on best ball now, fire away. Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, let's start with a playoff draft, and then we can kind of transition into Thursday games with a Thursday draft, right?
Right. I'll get the standings pulled up over here.
That didn't work out. Lost one of us when I did that.
Got that third man.
Let's see. Might be too much. Be all right. All right. If you are in the chat with us, you want to do an underdog draft with us, please jump in. We are going to do the wild card. So this is actually the second playoff contest they've dropped so far. The first one already filled. And so we'll jump into this one. As you can imagine, we'll see. Actually, I don't know how quickly it'll fill. I don't know if these are filling really quick. We'll kind of see. It'll be a little different, right? Because we don't know who's going to be in the playoffs, but we're trying to find a team that not only, teams that are not only players that won't be in the playoffs, but also go far into the playoffs. I didn't really think about the fact that people might not be hitting these super hard right now just because there are other drafts going on. So we may make that, we may not. I'll give it a couple minutes. Who do you think, looking at the playoffs, who would your guys' Super Bowl contenders kind of be right now? Who do you think could go deep into the playoffs?
Gotta say, well, I'll save one for you guys, but let's go to the NFC. I mean, I think Philly and San Francisco are both still two of the top teams there. I know I see a few of those guys up here, but I don't know, Dan, who you got? Who's the Super Bowl contender for you?
Philly and San Fran on the NFC side are by far and away the two that I feel could get there. On the AFC side, man, obviously I'm biased, but the Chiefs just, in my opinion, seem to be the top team. just because every AFC team has some glaring flaws at the moment, Chiefs included. If I were to put a second fiddle to that, I would say it's hard for me not to say the Ravens, but I like the Dolphins' chances this year with everything that they've got offensively. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I'd
Yeah,
say Ravens are probably a 2B.
I like that. And I'll say it just so that way it's not all the homers in the crowd. I will say that I have the Chiefs up there as an AFC Super Bowl contender as well. I didn't think about that. I thought I'll leave it for you guys, but then I was like, oh, wait, maybe it will help you if I also say that. So, it's like even a non-Chiefs fan believes. And I'll
This
just say,
isn't
I've been feeding off that great Chiefs defense in fantasy this year. I didn't expect to be saying that. But they became
neither, man.
undroppable for me. I had to put them in my bench for a week. I was like, I'm not getting 6 sacks a game. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not cutting you. You're never coming
All
back
right,
to
I'll
me.
drop
if I
my
cut you.
handcuff this week and
Yep.
hope that he's back.
I think I got a very lucky IR. It was one of the few times I've celebrated an injury on my roster. I was like, oh, wait, I don't have to drop anyone. I can just slide someone to IR and stream. And
Then
I
you're
streamed
like-
the Colts defense who scored 30 points for me or something crazy. It was awful.
Oh my gosh. Sleeper, hurry up and change his status to IR. Come on. They've already put him on.
Oh, that hurts me so much when Sleeper, you're trying to make a waiver move or something, and they're like, you
Yeah.
have someone in IR who's not eligible. I'm like, yes, they are, man. Like you do your job, all right? I'm trying to work over
Right.
here.
Let's get a API feed or something going in there. Like, we need to figure this out.
Yeah.
Real time.
That would be great. Oh my God. API to each team, like as soon as they put it in. Oh my God. Get working on that,
Ping.
guys. Yeah. Looks like okay, well.
We're at the
We're down to 3
50%
more.
mark.
I've been trying to recruit some folks to jump in the draft with us while you guys were talking playoff teams.
Nice. Okay.
I think that I have not done one of these yet. I would assume Dolphins, Ravens, Chiefs, 49ers are probably the most expensive guys. Eagles, obviously, are probably the most expensive guys. Probably the first couple rounds type players. I
think so.
I don't know. I still feel like the Bills potentially could make a little bit of a run if they end up getting like the 6th seed. And so they're facing off against Jacksonville in the first week and Baltimore in the second week, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them being able to make a little bit of a run, and I would assume they're going to be a little bit cheaper. Just knowing that they've not looked great recently. I don't know. Is there a dark horse though? You guys would be Cleveland, maybe. They're sitting at 7-3. Cowboys are no dark horse, but being 2 games behind Philadelphia, they might be a little cheaper as well.
That would be, and I'm so hesitant to say it just because they're the Cowboys and they kind of always fall apart in the playoffs. But I am blessed to have CeeDee Lamb in a couple of teams right now. He's done some pretty
Baller.
crazy things in the last 4 weeks.
Baller. Yeah. The Lions, I don't think should be ruled out either. In the NFC, if you're looking at that, they're probably going to have some cheaper players as well. Dan Campbell not being a very experienced playoff coach, 0 experience in the playoffs as a head coach. I feel like a lot of people will overlook them in those scenarios, but they're clearly going to win the NFC North, and that's going to give them home field advantage, at least for the first 2 rounds. I don't think they get the 1 seed, but I don't know. I think that carries some weight for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a good point.
I
Especially
like
in the
that.
later rounds, potentially. You're like, well, at least I know these guys are better chance to play. You want to avoid just anybody who's in a one and done, right? That's the goal.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe you don't feel so comfortable that you're going to draft ASB in the first round or second round. Maybe you'd rather take a Tyreek Hill or AJ Brown or somebody like that over ASB, but then you could probably get Montgomery or Gibbs later on, I would feel good about that. Getting one of those guys.
Yeah.
And I mean, if the playoffs were to start today, the Lions would host the Vikings. The other teams that are in that same realm, like right outside the playoffs looking in for that 7 seed, are the Packers, Rams, and Falcons and Buccaneers. Like, I don't feel like any of those teams are going to beat the Lions in the wild card round if they end up hosting that game. I don't even think Seattle would beat them. I know the Lions beat them earlier this year already. It's hard to beat a team twice, but I don't know. I just I like the Lions' chances to make a nice little run. So definitely can't be overlooked there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We're waiting on one more. So if you're in the chat with us, if you're watching, you want to jump into Underdog. Maybe you've never done Underdog. This would be a good time to do it. Of course, always use my promo code Trevor Steinbacher if you are doing that. But we're waiting on one more. I figured this would be a good time. Let's look at what the rules are for this tournament. It is a 6-man league, and we are going to do 10 rounds. So starters will be one quarterback. Where is it at? This is really small. I know.
So
actually makes it better by making it smaller. So it's one quarterback, one running back, 2 wide receivers or tight ends, and then one flex, which could be wide receiver, tight end, or running back. And then you got your 5 bench players. The quarterback, right? I didn't even think about this before. I bet they are probably higher on, if not the top picks, the Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Tua, Lamar. These guys are Brock Purdy, maybe even. They could be higher than normal just because you're only starting one of them, and only 14 of them is going to make the playoffs. But if you had your pick, I mean, is it Jalen Hurts? I guess that's probably who I would go with.
That's who it is for me, for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be, right. You got all, what they're doing inside 3 yards. Like you can count on those extra goal line touchdowns.
I feel like they know exactly how to work their offense perfectly to the 1 yard line so that they can push his ass in the end zone.
We did get this filled, and we are the 3rd pick.
Ooh,
so
there we
let's see. Does Jalen go first off the board? No, it's McCaffrey.
Interesting.
And so
Jalen gonna fall?
It looks like ADP wise, Jalen's at the background. Mahomes, Lamar Jackson at 10. You guys want to go quarterback first, or you want to take one of these stud wide receivers?
I mean, unless you guys really feel strongly about Kelsey, I'm kind of liking Hurts over Brown or Hill in that situation.
I like Hurts here for sure.
Hurts it is.
Finally have this guy on a fantasy team. Look at that. Yay.
There you go. I think that says we don't need a secondary quarterback. I mean, we could, but we don't need to. And the way I've always built these playoffs is to build for the Super Bowl, stack up one team, and then usually bring back 1 or 2 teams from the other side. So, obviously on the NFC side, we're saying Philadelphia makes the Super Bowl. What AFC team or teams could they be facing off against? And ultimately, to win the whole thing, you want 5 players playing in the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
Even if that means you've got Jack Stoll at tight end or something like that. Like you have 5 guys that's in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Which I think we'll see how this falls. But Swift or Smith would probably be the best way to go next.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. I also agree.
And then running wide receiver gets pretty.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like maybe if it's probably Smith then Swift.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like there's more running back options, especially on the AFC side. I'm just looking down here: Gus Edwards, Mostert, A-Chain,
Pacheco.
So Devontae Smith.
Yep, I'd be good with
Stack him up
that.
with Hurts.
Let's mail it in.
And that stack. Ooh, yeah, I'll take it.
And then worst case scenarios, Swift slips to us and we get to lock that one in.
Just lock it in. So we'll play one running back, one running back, one quarterback. And then is that it?
Yeah, I'm not thinking we're going to end up
Other
playing a
one
tight
first.
end, right? Like outside of Kelsey, especially with Andrews out. Are there any other tight ends that are going to crack starting lineups until like teams start getting eliminated?
None
I
that I
don't
would
think
want to
so.
spend capital on.
Right.
You know, Swift.
Maybe George Kittle.
Swift still sitting there?
Swift it is.
Would you look at that?
Come on, then. EAGLES.
Oh man.
Learned
Let's
all
see,
about that on Monday night.
10K up top. So if the Eagles want us 10K, I would also be doing the chant.
You know what? Yeah, I'd suffer through some more Nick Sirianni clips for that.
God. Where do we want to go on the AFC side?
Do you guys feel strongly about any particular contender? I mean, I'm seeing. I love seeing A-Chain there, but I know he's hurt. What about Waddle?
On the AFC side, the strongest I feel is the Chiefs. Just feel like they're levels ahead of the other AFC teams right now. But if I were to wager on any of them, I like Miami or Baltimore the most out of those other teams in the field. So I mean,
I'm with that. Chiefs, Miami.
I take it Waddle's been picked.
You want Waddle's here.
Waddle's there,
Waddle or Flowers? Miami or Baltimore?
I like. Damn. So tough.
I think I lean Baltimore.
Okay.
I think I lean Baltimore. Just knowing the AFC North and the shambles it's kind of in right now with the quarterback situations up and down that division, I think there's a pathway for them to be the 1 or 2 seed and getting, having a chance to make it the Super Bowl. Now we could do Baltimore and Kansas City. Rashee Rice is down here. McKinnon, I assume, is going to be around somewhere.
Oh yeah, you can probably get him.
There's plenty of cheap Chiefs.
Snipe him
if we
later,
want to go those 2 routes.
Yeah, not a lot of faith in Miami from this draft, I've noticed. A lot of those top Miami players sat there for a minute.
Gus Edwards going.
Gus went. Do you want to go Baltimore and Chiefs, or do you want to go Baltimore and Miami?
I mean, how many skill position players from the Chiefs are really carrying a ton of value? I know it's just about who's going to be there, I guess. So
it's all about who's there.
Rashee Rice.
Okay. Yeah, it's all about who's going to be there, right? We're trying to build a team that's going to actually be in the Super Bowl. And so we'll just kind of build out the at this point, just try to build out these 3 teams. Philly,
yep.
We're all in on them making the Super Bowl on the NFC side, and then either playing Baltimore or Kansas City. We got Odell down here.
Yep. That's who I was
Dallas
thinking.
Goedert is still on the board technically. I know we just talked about tight ends, but could be an option. He could catch a couple, and just because it stacks up with our quarterback.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know how many other Eagles pass catchers are going to be around that are worth drafting at all.
Do we want to hedge on the NFC at all?
If you want to draft another quarterback, you can, but it's all about the quarterback, right?
Yeah. It's like I don't even know if there's any NFC players that I really feel strongly about other than.
I mean, we would literally have to go like Minnesota, Josh Dobbs or Geno Smith. Because if you don't have the quarterback, you're not. Now we could get a one-off piece just to say, hey, we think this guy is, Justin Jefferson. If we just say we just think Justin Jefferson is going to dominate, we could get him for a week. But
No.
really, it's that end of the time that was the most important. I guess we're gonna take Goddard. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize we were on the clock when I was trying to talk.
Oh, dang. Oh, that's all right.
Goddard's cool.
Well,
with me.
Odell went right before him as well. I like these two running backs, Keaton Mitchell and Jerick McKinnon. McKinnon, we know what he
Honestly.
does in the playoffs, and Keaton Mitchell has looked good.
Yeah. I was gonna say honestly, McKinnon, this is when he shines. So
Yeah, exactly.
So
And
right
I've
now we
had-
have 4 Eagles, guys, right? So if we have 4 Eagles, 2 Chiefs, 2 Ravens, we could even get, then we could kind of get different elsewhere if we want
Well,
to try something else too.
they did say Mark Andrews might come back in the playoffs.
Doobie Miles just sniping us with Keaton Mitchell.
Oh,
Doobie.
that's a good name.
He was the guy who also took Odell. Oh, he has Baltimore. He had Lamar. I didn't realize he had Lamar.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
hate
If I
this
would have
guy.
recognized that, I would have taken Keaton Mitchell first. Damn it, Doobie. Are there any other Baltimore guys? I guess Bateman. We could potentially
Live?
throw
Well,
Bateman
no,
on
like,
there.
I don't know.
There.
I have Bateman on a dynasty league, and he has not moved off my bench once this season. But yeah, I mean, technically, if it's about having a body there,
Yeah.
he'll catch.
If
2
we want to
passes
do
in
a
the Super Bowl.
4 Eagles, 2-2-2,
we're on the
we could
clock.
do Bills.
Oh, yep, 7
Bills
seconds.
are right here. What do you think about the Bills?
Let's
Might
run
as
it.
well. Yep.
It's either gonna be that or Trevor Lawrence, and we don't need Trevor Lawrence.
No.
I don't want to be rooting for the Jags to win multiple playoff games either.
So we're building it out as we're gonna take 4 Eagles to the Super Bowl, and then we'll have either facing the Chiefs, the Ravens, or the Bills, and you get 2 of those apiece. You're taking 6 guys to the Super Bowl. That's
Yeah.
kind of the thinking behind that.
And
We
so how
already
many
got our
rounds do we have
Chiefs.
left?
If we have another
2 more.
pick, we want to grab somebody. We could grab Andrews or Kincaid. If we want to grab another Bills player,
Will Andrews be back?
they said he could come back for the divisional.
Okay.
But Kincaid's
I agree
basically a
with
receiver.
Kincaid for sure. Kincaid right here if he falls to us.
Yeah. Outside chance he returns this season.
And then we would have
Justice Hill.
Especially
we'd
with
have
that
our pick.
backfield and their endless injuries. That's not a bad one either.
Yeah, I don't hate
I'm
the
gonna take-
Justice Hill pick.
I'm gonna take Kincaid here just so we get him out of the way. Then we have all these Ravens. We can kind of talk through that. Does that sound good?
Yeah. Let's do
Works.
it.
All right. So Bateman's fine. Likely's probably the best. Justice Hill is probably going to be the least rostered player of all of them, which is good to have, right? Honestly, if you're going into a Super Bowl and you've got Eagles versus the Ravens and nobody else has Justice Hill, that's a pretty good spot for you to try to take it down. I don't know. What do you guys think?
How many picks do we have left?
1. Last pick.
Last pick.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah, it's a
I
tough
feel
one.
like we should take the flyer on Andrews.
That that would be a
Andrews?
real game changer if you do get it. Yeah, I'm with. For
I
me,
mean,
it's like
we're
Andrews,
locked in
Bateman, or
with-
Hill.
Say
Say what-
Andrews, Bateman, or Hill.
Yeah, what'd you say? We're locked in with what?
We're locked in with 5 because we do have Zay Flowers. So even if Andrews isn't back, we're still starting. We still have 5 players in the Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah, that's
Right.
good. So it's
Does that
just
make sense?
Yeah.
give us a little insurance. Okay.
And we know that Andrews is going to be falling quite a bit. You guys want to take Andrews
I'm good with it.
or Justice Hill?
Where are you
we
leaning?
don't-
I mean, I think we're probably DeAndre Swift's probably fine, so I would take a pass catcher.
Okay. I'm good with it. Oh,
I like the
did
Mark
he get
Andrews
it?
flyer over Rashad Bateman.
Yep.
Yeah, I do too.
Yep.
Andrews it is.
Let's go.
Andrews it is. So we're taking Eagles to the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts, DeAndre Swift, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. And we're facing against either the Chiefs with Jerick McKinnon and Rashee Rice, the Bills with James Cook, Dalton Kincaid, or the Ravens, Zay Flowers, and potentially Mark Andrews. I like for the first playoff one, I don't mind that at all.
That ain't
I
bad.
like that game.
I don't
We had
mind that at all.
I think we got a couple of good bounces there in the first rounds.
Yeah.
A couple of guys fell to us, but I'm liking that
Yeah,
team a lot.
buddy.
All right, let's start transitioning. Let's do some Turkey Day stuff here. You want to start with a quick underdog draft? It takes like 5 minutes.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I will be right back, gentlemen, in just 1 minute.
If you are here with us, thanks for hanging out with us. Hit that like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. Just 7 subscribers away from 600. We are going to jump into a Thanksgiving Day main slate draft on Underdog. So if you want to join us right now, go ahead and join the turkey. Oh, come on. I hate when this does this.
Come on, Turkey.
Well, it's my computer. Every once in a while, I'll stop sharing my location.
Oh, yeah.
There it goes. All right, we are in the turkey. If you want to join us, please do. So these are only 4-person drafts because there's only 3 3 games, obviously. So these are going to be real quick. 4-person, 6 rounds. We're drafting 6 guys, and we are the 4th pick. So we have the 4-5 turn.
Okay. I like the turn.
Which is where all the quarterbacks are. Goodness.
All right, let's see what this roster looks like.
Oh, I see. It's sorted by projection.
Gotcha.
Interesting. 15
I think a
seconds.
lot of people are going to realize that.
Probably. Kevin, it's a 4-man league, 6 draft picks. So we'll have a 6-man roster. We're only drafting as 3 people. We are the 4-5 turn here.
Does that mean we take
we can
QB
really
early?
go wherever we want.
Yeah, I guess you're right. We can go wherever we want, but
yeah, I mean,
those
if you
first
love
2 picks,
QB,
do we take QB? I'm not sure with only 4 spots like that. This is new one for me.
We could be the team to take. I personally like Dak the most.
Yep.
I do too.
If we were to like put
Dak
a stamp on
go.
it, otherwise we can just let quarterback kind of do its thing, and we can try to.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys have, if there's a first round beast you guys are seeing, by all means.
Well, let's see how this thing falls to us too. I think that'd be a good way.
McCaffrey goes first, Lamb goes second. I assume St. Brown will go here, which he does. So we could take our pick of quarterback, or we could running back, wide receiver.
I say we secure Dak for sure.
You want Dak?
That's where I'm at.
That's my top QB, yeah.
And then, shoot.
My next person will be
Robinson later.
Ayuk.
I was just about to. Okay, yeah, Ayuk. Unless
against that Seattle
you guys
defense,
if you like the Gibbs better or not, but Ayuk has been a blessing for me in my redraft league. Pretty consistent output.
Dan,
I'm cool with Ayuk. I think he's solid. I think we'll still get a good chance at one of those running backs. They're on that list. Hopefully it's not Charbonnet.
Right.
So he get. That's the only guy I don't want. Maybe we'll start the QB run. Kittle goes.
Kittle.
I like Laporta over Kittle.
Yeah, because there's only one. You only play one tight end, so that's probably why they're thinking just get their tight end.
I like Laporta and Ferguson over Kittle, tell you the truth.
Ferguson goes
Nice.
well with our
Good for us.
stack
Yeah.
with Dak. Don't need to take him. I don't think we need to take him next, but he goes well there.
Yeah. What do you think? Brian Robinson, I like him.
Definitely like him. Yep.
I like Pollard if he slips to us.
Ooh, did Robinson just go?
No, Gibbs.
Oh, okay. Oh, there he is. Okay.
There goes Pollard.
Pollard goes.
Is that an auto pick?
Oh, come on. Auto pick. This draft takes like 8
No,
minutes.
I don't know. It wasn't auto pick.
They knew it, right?
It may. So if you put him in the queue, because he's back-to-back picks, so he probably just put the guy in the queue so he had longer time to decide his next pick.
That makes sense.
So it made it look like it auto-picked.
I'm a pretty rap. There are times when you have that turn.
Yeah.
If you had it
Yeah,
down
I'm
to
like,
2 and
bow,
you get
bow.
your 2. Yeah.
Oh, Montgomery was the one.
Damn it. Is it Charbonnet? I think I'd rather have Robinson.
Yeah, if we're leaning running back, I'd rather have Robinson.
Do we need to take a running back right now?
That's what I was going to ask. Is there
just
anybody we can wait on?
We could probably just take McLaurin and Lockett if we wanted to. Otherwise, we could take.
What are some of the other receivers available?
We can
I
only
guess those
play
two are
2
probably the best.
receivers, right? And then it's one tight
Yeah,
end.
I am going to put Scary Terry in for right now because that's the opposite of our Dak stack. And we ran out of time. So, okay. It's 6 spots. So 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 3 wide receivers, and 1 tight end. So,
Let's
I guess
go Lockett.
Oh, there are 3 wide receivers. Okay.
Want to go Lockett?
Yeah, go for it.
Lockett or Cooks?
Cooks works with
Actually,
our
if we're
stack.
banking on Ferguson, we can roll with Lockett.
All right, deal.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, so then we'll go our 5-6. We'll go Ferguson, so long as he falls back to us. And damn, see, that's where the inexperience of these drafts come into play. We should have taken Ferguson here because I assume these 2 guys are going to take tight end now, right? Because they're at the 4 and 5. Unless they
Do
just
either
wait
one of
till
them
the
have a
round 6.
quarterback, though, either? I guess they could go quarterback and tight end and seal it up there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's possible. I didn't think about that's a good point, though. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Which is fine. We could go Dak naked. It's not that big of a deal. We're still getting all those points.
Yep.
You know, maybe he throws 1 touchdown to Pollard, 1 to Ferguson, 1 to Schoonmaker like he did last week, runs 1 in. You know what I mean? And there's no like 1 guy you had to have.
Right.
Or he
to
could
take
just
it down.
run them all in. That would be tight.
That's who.
Take a couple of those, yeah.
All right. It sounds like we like Robinson more than Charbonnet, though.
Yes.
I definitely do, yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And if it's not Robinson, then Charbonnet over Dylan.
For sure.
Yeah, especially with Dylan questionable. We don't even know if Dylan's going to play.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Well, we'll get one of those 2. We'll see what AA Blazer does.
They got Darrell Henderson on the board just in case.
Yeah, right. Security blanket.
So Ferguson's next on the list, but
All right, we got 2 picks to get to us.
Ice Cream Man needs a quarterback and a tight end, so we'll see. He goes Sam Howell. All right, which makes sense. He'll be able to take Logan Thomas then as well. Charbonnet goes, so we get
Let's
Ferguson
Yes,
and
AA
Robinson.
Blazer. Yes.
Yay!
Made it easy for us.
Dude,
That.
what a freaking fall.
So we are heavy in the Dallas Washington game, which is my favorite game to be heavy in, anyways.
Yeah.
It's the highest over under of the day, and then we got a little Ayuk, Tyler Lockett skinny stack as well. So that's fun. We're just look, that first game. We're about to talk about bets. I like the under for the first game anyway. So in this draft, we faded the first game, which works out well.
You boys are gonna love my bet for tomorrow.
So that's fun. That'll kind of get us into talking about some Turkey Day stuff here. I'll just kind of give a quick, brief overview of where we're at or what tomorrow looks like, and then we're gonna walk through our favorite bets of the day. 3 games: Lions 7.5 point home favorites against the Green Bay Packers. That's the first game of the day. 46.5 point total. It looks like on DraftKings is up to 47.5. I have not relooked at FanDuel, so we'll make sure you see that. But looks like it's on the rise. Dallas and Washington is that middle game of the day. Dallas 12.5 point home favorites with a 48.5 point total. And then the nightcap, the Seattle Seahawks 7-point home dogs to the San Francisco 49ers. So all 3 of these games, 7-point spreads or more. The last game of the day is the lowest total. I thought it was the first game, so my mistake. It's at 43.5. Kev, we'll start with you. What is your favorite bet for tomorrow?
My favorite bet lines up very well with that team we just drafted, gentlemen, because my favorite bet is taking the over for Washington versus Dallas. So 48.5 points. Washington scored over 30 points 2 of their last 4 games, and Dallas has scored 30 points in 3 of their last 4 games. So I like the idea that this is going to be a bit of a shootout, and so that's my favorite bet.
I like Sam Howell tomorrow.
Not bad.
I like him quite a bit. I'm going to talk about him in player props, but I know Dallas has a really good defense, but Washington loves to throw the ball, man. Washington loves to throw the ball. That is for sure.
I don't know that it'll be a close. I'm thinking it's one of those like Dallas will score a lot early, and then Washington will just be passing a lot late. I just think they're going to, despite, like you said, despite some turnovers, some sacks, I just think they're going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, I can see that happening. If you're here with us in the chat, thank you for being here. Hit that like button. Throw your favorite bet in the chat here with us. Let us know what your favorite bet is. As Dan, give us yours.
Yeah, I'm sticking in the same game that you were just saying, Kev. The Commanders are 13.5 point dogs, and I know this is a road game for them, right? Coming into Dallas, playing on Thanksgiving, crowd's going to be hyped for that game and whatnot. But it is a divisional game, and I think almost 2 touchdowns is a little bit of an overreaction. This point totals continued to move more and more. They're giving more and more points to Washington for this, and I think 13.5 is a lot here. Trevor, you mentioned it already. They like to throw the ball. I really think that this is a perfect opportunity for them to get some junk points late in the game and kind of do a little backdoor cover action. Even if it's Dallas up, 17 points going into the fourth quarter, they take their foot off the gas. They score 1 touchdown, and you got yourself a cover. So that's where I'm at with 13.5 points and taking Washington there.
Listen, I love it. I hope our scripts go, Dan. Like we're in line here with how we want this game to go.
I will say this is a really good example of line shopping, right? Because on FanDuel it's still 12.5. So if you can get on DraftKings and get it at 13.5, obviously, have your money in different sports books just so you can kind of do some of that line shopping and get the better odds. I'm going with Detroit Green Bay under. Again, on FanDuel it's 46.5, but if it's at 47.5 on DraftKings, then I'm going to go under the 47.5 on DraftKings instead. Both teams, these teams don't like to throw the ball. They're actually negative pass over expectation, which just essentially means that in a spot that most teams would pass, an average team would pass. They are actually running the ball more often than passing the ball. No Aaron Jones, no Luke Musgrave, maybe no A.J. Dillon. This Packers offense is probably going to be pretty stagnant tomorrow. I don't expect a lot out of them against this defense in Detroit, and so I'm going with the under 46.5.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate
Did
that at
you
all.
go to the Poodle too and look at you, me, and Tyler? I did not. I didn't. Lee, we'll definitely check that out at some point. If not on ADP, we can check it out on our Rumbles of Red episode in the near future. Favorite player prop for Thanksgiving? Dan, give us your favorite player prop.
I took my favorite player prop and rolled it into a little parlay here. Gibbs and Montgomery, anytime touchdowns for each of them. If you put that in a parlay on DraftKings, you get plus 182 for your odds there. They've combined for 5 touchdowns on the ground the last 2 weeks. 3 of those going Gibbs' way, 2 going Montgomery's way. All they got to do is get a score here. I don't really think the Packers' run defense is anything to be threatened with. So I could absolutely see these guys taking turns, stepping into the end zone, and turning this into a profit for anyone that's placing it down. So that's my favorite prop of the week. I actually did put money on that myself. So money where the mouth is for sure.
That's right. That's right. Kev, give us your favorite player prop for tomorrow.
Well, I also, like Dan, I put my money down on this one as well. Although I didn't get quite as creative. I will get some parlays done before kickoff starts tomorrow. But to stay in line with this shootout that we're going to have, well, not much. Well, you get what I mean. The high scoring affair between Dallas and Washington. CeeDee Lamb, I took the over 93.5 receiving yards. He's had 100+ yards and 10+ receptions in 3 of his last 4 games. And more importantly, last week wasn't that game. So, now he's ready to come back up, right? If he were 4 straight weeks, I'd be like, oh, man, he might be due for an off game. But no, we had that one last week. Now we're back up. So give me CeeDee Lamb. I'd have probably taken it at 100 yards, but it's at 93.5.
It's funny because the three of us, we didn't talk before the show. We all put our own stuff in the show sheet, but we are all on the same page with this Washington-Dallas game. We do think that there's going to be plenty of points scored. My player prop is Sam Howell over 1.5 passing touchdowns for tomorrow. 66% of the touchdowns that have been scored against the Dallas Cowboys have been through the air. Once you get close, they're not really giving it up on the ground anymore, so you got to throw deep into the red zone. Washington, they love to throw the ball over 40 attempts a game. They lead the NFL in passing attempts, pass rate over expectation, all of the above. Washington, Eric Bieniemy is going to throw the ball and throw the ball a lot. So give me Sam Howell over 1.5 passing touchdowns just to keep the rolling going on Dallas and Washington. Any other bets out there? Anything in the chat? Anything from you guys? Just something that you might like before we look at some DFS stuff real fast.
I mean, if you're looking for some extra odds and you're playing some player props and throwing a parlay in, I think Christian McCaffrey scores another touchdown this week. So not a bad thing to sprinkle into any of your if you're putting a single game parlay or a player prop parlay together.
1.5 interceptions.
What does it say?
I'm gonna look that up.
1.5 interceptions.
Kev, are you looking that up?
Yeah, I was pulling it up on FanDuel here.
All right, I'll let you look that up. Did McCaffrey score last week?
He did.
He did, right? Yeah.
The week before he did not.
I thought they got him back into the end zone last week. Yeah, the guy just scores and scores often. I've been pretty decent at anytime touchdowns this year. I will say most of my action in the betting world tomorrow will probably be on live betting, especially that second and third game of the day. First game is when we're eating, and so I won't be able to have as much time to watch. But after that, all the family festivities are over. I'm just sitting there watching football, enjoying a cold beverage. I'll be live betting the game. That's probably most of my action will be tomorrow.
If I was in Kansas,
I love
man,
live betting.
I'd be doing the same thing if I was spending my Thanksgiving in Kansas.
It's the best.
Fortunately for my wallet, unfortunately for me, I will be in Missouri.
Real quick story. I text with two of my buddies constantly about just different bets or whatever. And it never fails. Like 10:30 in the morning, I'm sitting in my office. I get this text of like, James Madison plus 15.5. You need to hit it right now before the line moves. I'm like, yep, not going to do that. So then, 4:30 rolls around. I'm back in Kansas and the line's now it's, 18.5 or something. I can't hit it anymore. Every time. Like,
No.
this sucks.
So FanDuel doesn't
right
give me a line for it. They just have yes or no for both Prescott and Sam Howell. So maybe I need to check, or maybe it's just because I'm on mobile and I'm not looking at everything here.
Like yes or no, they'll throw an interception.
Yeah, it's just saying Sam Howell interception, yes, no. Dak Prescott interception, yes, no. I will say
I don't know if I've ever seen 1.5 interceptions before.
Yeah, that seems crazy. 1.5 touchdowns, sure. With interceptions, it's usually like 0.5 if they're going to put it in a number that way, or yes, no.
Yeah, they just put it here, yes, no. Now, I will say Dak, same odds for yes and no. Negative 114. Now, Howell, he actually has plus odds for no. So everyone is expecting him to throw a pick. His odds
Here we go for the Friday, the Black Friday game. Tim Boyle over under 1.5 interceptions. The over at plus 145. Tim Boyle.
I'm taking it.
Jalen Ramsey's back. You got Xavier Howard and Javon Holland. He's getting picked off twice.
Mm-hmm. Lock it in.
That is so great. I've never seen a 1.5. Not for Dak, though. Not for Dak.
No. Might have to go old school, find a bookie for that one.
No shit.
Okay, let's talk a little DFS. Dan, since you play on DraftKings, I'll let you kind of talk through DraftKings first, and then we'll build a team here on FanDuel together, live on the show. But any thoughts around DraftKings, just around players in general that you like for tomorrow?
Yeah, I actually put my lineup into the mini wishbone for Thursday on DraftKings. So I got Goff, Gibbs, Montgomery, Deebo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Watson. So you got to play 3 receivers. For tight end, I took Ferguson, Brandon Ayuk at the flex, and then the Cowboys defense, and still had about $300 left over in the budget. I really like the Lions running backs. I do not think the Packers really have a ton going for them on defense when it comes to rush defense. Really big fan of the Niners receivers, particularly Ayuk. Like, obviously, Deebo Samuel can get some things going. And we know Christian McCaffrey is going to ball out, right? But it's a matter of, like, fading the public and using your salary appropriately. And so I just really didn't feel like it made sense financially in terms of the salary to plug him in there and still have enough, cap to spread that out to other places. So that's kind of where I'm at and what my thinking process was with my lineup.
I like that a lot. I like the Gibbs and Montgomery. Like, I don't think that's going to be used very often. So that's going to just make you a little bit unique, in a game, in a day that's everybody's going to be super chalky. There's no getting away from, there's no like special ingredient that you're like, oh, I know it's going to be this guy. Like, yeah, if you put 150 lineups together, you could get your, third string tight end built in there or something that catches a touchdown. But for us which is what I do, is just I hand build it all. It's all single entry or 3 or 5 max tournaments, not very much. I'm not going to play, all those like really, really thin ancillary pieces, but how do you get a little different? Putting 2 running backs on the same team on the same, that's going to be a unique build just by doing that. And that's 2 guys who are going to project very well, but you can get a little different just by doing that. Before we build a FanDuel lineup, we have a question in the chat. Should I trade Eckler for Pollard, Ridley, and DeAndre Hopkins? My wide receivers are Waddle, Godwin, and Higgins.
Ooh. Yes.
You think so?
But who do you drop?
So for me, what's the difference and what are you getting from Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins that you're not getting from Godwin and Higgins?
I feel like the ceiling, Higgins is an afterthought to me at this point. There's not anything that you're going to get from Higgins that you can even consider to put him in your lineup. You're at least getting a pass catcher that you can consider for your lineups with Ridley and Hopkins. Hopkins has definitely been a little more touchdown dependent. Ridley been a little streaky, but I think both of them have more potential in a given game than Chris Godwin does. So that elevates both of those guys above him for me as well. And with Pollard, I mean, how much drop off are you really getting from Eckler? You know, does it outweigh the potential for that wide receiver too? I'm not entirely sure. I haven't looked over all the numbers there. Pollard's still a top 20 running back, right? I'd be interested to know who the other running back is in this scenario, but I think it's equal value. I mean, if you're just putting it in a vacuum, Eckler for those three guys that you could plug in your lineup, I mean, I like that. I like both of those receivers over two of his three. So, I don't know. That's my thought process there.
Yeah, I would say yes as well. I'm not sure. It kind of depends on the rest of your roster. You know, you're trading 1 for 3 here. So what are you going to – who else would you have to drop to make that happen? But like Dan said, in a vacuum, I like Ridley and Hopkins at least more than Higgins. So, yeah, it depends on – he says he has ETN and Jalen Warren as his other running back.
Oh, I like Jalen Warren.
That just kind of locks it in as a yes for me. Because I like what you got. I like what you got at running back too.
I guess I was just looking at the wide receiver part just because Ridley and Hopkins can go off. But I think you make a good point when you talk about the ceiling of those two players are definitely higher than Godwin and Higgins right now. So thinking of it that way, I don't mind it. And if anything, it gives you a little bit more depth. Now Higgins and Godwin could be your depth pieces should something go wrong with a Ridley or a Hopkins. So I don't mind that. And also, yes, Goat, we are on board with you making that trade for Pollard, Ridley, and Hopkins. I assume he's the one getting them. That's the way I read it.
That's how I read it too. I would assume that'd be the case.
So, okay, I am trying to find a good $5 contest that we could put a team into. Let's just do this one right here. 476 people, $5, single entry.
Let's do it.
Sorry, I have a lot of contests I've entered, but I haven't set my lineup yet. So I'm like,
you're about to have a Thanksgiving for real.
That's right.
Let's go.
That's right. That's my hope. That is my hope. All right. So, real quick, I'll just make a couple comments on a couple of these players. When we think about, we're looking at some projections right now. Dak, Tony Pollard, Christian McCaffrey, they sit at the top of the projections in terms of value, just their points per dollar that they're projecting. I really like David Montgomery and Sam Howell just because they've got good high ceilings, but they're not going to be rostered near as much as some of these other guys are. And then on FanDuel, I know we talked about Charbonnet earlier, $5,800. So he makes it really cheap and does give you some salary relief. Should you use Zach Charbonnet, I will probably be using him on most of my lineups. He'll probably be 50% rostered tomorrow. But $5,800 is just super cheap on FanDuel and really allows you to do even more at the top. So doesn't mean we have to go there for this lineup. Just wanted to give my quick thoughts around tomorrow's slate on FanDuel. Kev, as guest of the show, where do you want to start with this lineup at? You can go anywhere you want.
Oh,
The
well, let me
pressure's
ask you
on.
guys, what, as far as strategy goes, what do you usually like? Do you try to find your cheap players first so you can then decide who you're going to spend your big money on? Because I'll be honest, I don't do daily as much as I do just regular betting, or I tend to be one of those guys who has 5 or 6 leagues going throughout the year. So daily kind of my wires get crossed too much. It's like I got money over here going against money over here. So I don't do a lot of daily until the playoffs. So what would you guys think? Because then I'll pick where we go first. But strategy wise, should we be aiming cheap? Part of me thinks like let's start with our tight end because that's not gonna make any waves. Let's go get a cheap tight end and budget. But it's not the sexy pick. I know.
Yeah, well, for me, for tomorrow, a couple of things around strategy for tomorrow. Being a 3-game slate definitely changes the game. Rather than it's just a regular Sunday slate, you got 10 to 13 games, whatnot. So tomorrow, it's about, for me, one is evaluating all 3 games and which game do I like the most of, and trying to get pieces from them. The most pieces from that.
Yeah.
And then you can overstack that game. You can, put 5 or 6 players from the same game if you really think one is going to just stand out amongst the rest, because that's going to help you get different while not really sacrificing any ceiling from your team. And then the other strategy from a starting standpoint, salary versus non-salary, like for me, it's like you get the guys that you absolutely want. If there's a stud, if you're like, dude, there's no way I would be putting $5 tomorrow without playing Christian McCaffrey, then you just put Christian McCaffrey in, and then you start building a lineup around that, right? Or you're like, oh, I love Charbonnet tomorrow. He's only 5,800, but I love him, so I'm going to start there and then see what studs I can get around him. So it's just really about finding a guy or two that you might really like and you want to build around, and then you kind of let the pieces fall into place from there.
That makes sense. I mean, the only thing that I'm really in love with, I mean, we're all high on the Commanders Cowboys game. So I think some skill players from that game, definitely. If I were in a situation where it's like, oh, I would love to have a Dak and Lamb stack, but I also feel like that's going to be the most popular combination put into these leagues tomorrow. So I don't know if that's the direction to go in.
Well, that's the direction we're going then.
All right.
Because we can get everybody's going to be popular tomorrow. There's only 3 games. There's only a handful of people you can pick from. It's just about how you structure things around the popularity and be different from others, right? Do we put 6 guys from this game in? Do we just do a Dak, CeeDee Lamb skinny stack, and then we go heavy on a different game? You can go any different direction there. But yeah, definitely Dak is going to be the highest rostered quarterback, and CeeDee Lamb will be the highest rostered player. Maybe Christian McCaffrey might beat him out, but it'll be close. So, Dan, where do you want to go from here?
I mean, just looking at the direction we've gone with quarterback and wide receiver, I probably go with Ferguson as my tight end just to complete the stack from that game. We know what we see here from Washington. The thing is that it's half of our budget, damn near right there, and so those are things that I find myself shuffling my lineup quite a bit after I'm like, okay, this is where we're at now. Maybe I need to make some sacrifices here, switch someone out there to get some more money to move into this position. It's definitely a fluid process. I don't know if you feel the same way about that, Trevor, but
oh yeah, for sure. And I use all my builds are on a spreadsheet, and I'm already putting it in there right now just to kind of see what those ceiling projections are with each one of them. So absolutely, it's going to be a fluid. You got to be flexible there with it. But I'm not worried about the amount of salary. We're still averaging $6K. I think we could easily put Detroit's defense in here right out of the gate.
I like that one.
We could do that, or we could wait until the end of the day. But I think Detroit's defense, we could just throw them in here as a placeholder. It leaves us 6,400. Now we have a little bit more flexibility. If it is my turn, I said earlier I like David Montgomery. I think that he's good leverage on some of these other running backs, such as Christian McCaffrey, even Tony Pollard at 7,200. Pollard's going to be super rostered, which Montgomery $600 more won't be. So I just try to get a little leverage there. I'll go David Montgomery.
Nice.
Kev, 6,100 to you. Running back, wide receiver, flex.
Prods, I guess. Yeah, maybe just pull up flex so I can see the running backs and receivers. That'll help me. Let's see. I can't make the prices out very well, so I might need your help with that. Oh, there we go. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Let's see. We have, what's our average? Like 6,400? 61?
61.
Oh, let's see. Wow. I mean, well, Brian Johnson's at 67. Yeah, we may have to do some of that shuffling. I don't know if there's going to be.
Man. Kev, while you're looking, Dan, do you know who the next guy in line for Green Bay is if AJ Dillon doesn't play? He's one of your boys.
James Robinson?
That's right,
Let's
baby.
Go.
No way. I'm about to pick him up.
Time for a comeback.
I'm
Let's
playing.
go.
Let's see. What is he at in here? 4,500.
That feels like a lot.
Sign him to the from the practice squad.
Wow. Okay.
So
bring my guy back
tomorrow morning. He might be super salary relief tomorrow.
Bring my guy back.
I want to see it now. Yeah. This is tough.
You got Terry McLaurin at 65. On the other side, Dallas, Jahan Dotson. You could add into Dallas with Brandon Cooks, Curtis Samuel, just talking about Dallas, Washington guys that are down here. Double tight end with Logan Thomas.
Has Dotson done more than Samuel started out okay, but I noticed they've kind of gone away from using him in any sort of gadget sense. Like, you used to be able to bank on 2 to 3 carries a game from Samuel too, on top of whatever he'd get, but I haven't been keeping up with Dotson.
Dotson touchdown 3 of the last 4 games. I did remember this 3-game stretch before last couple weeks. A bunch of targets, so he seems to be getting slowly integrated into that offense a little more.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly about anybody in our price range. I feel like I set us up to fail with my first 2 picks. So whatever you guys are feeling here, I don't know. One of those Commanders receivers could work, I guess, just because I'm banking on that being a lot of passes.
Well,
40 plus dropbacks.
I'll tell you who I like.
Since he's cheaper. Who do you like, Dan? Out of these guys?
I like Jaden Reed.
Oh,
yes. Okay.
At 5,900.
I like that. Okay.
Do you have a read on Washington guy like McLaurin versus Dotson versus Samuel?
I mean, McLaurin is the clear number 1 there for me. After that, probably Dotson's the number 2. I say we go ahead and tuck McLaurin in there, and then if we need to adjust salary for whatever reason, then we can. But 6,000, that's still doable for the other positions.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So we're at 6K. We got running back and a flex. Let me look at running back real fast. Jaden Reed. Putting it in my spreadsheet. I mean, everything looks still pretty solid.
We got a question.
Dotson's a little low. Would you put? What's that?
Speaking of Dotson, Lee asked if we would put Dotson in tomorrow's game and take Moore out on Sunday.
No. I don't
Which
think
more?
so. Well, I assume it was talking DJ Moore. That's what came to my mind.
Same.
DJ Moore plays Monday, doesn't he? For
Oh,
Bears, Vikings?
Is that Monday
that's
night?
right.
Yeah. On Sunday, more. There's
It's Elijah?
there is Elijah Moore. If you're between those two, I like Dotson over Elijah Moore, but and
the only
over
one I could
Sky
think
Moore
of.
as well,
Oh,
if
yeah,
that's
Sky
who you're.
Oh, Charbonnet. Okay. Well,
So I went Charbonnet. So I think that this set us up for a couple ways. We could have went Brian Robinson and really gone all in on this game. But it only leaves us 5,300, which is not
Just
a lot
enough.
of options.
Just enough for my boy James Robinson, baby.
Well, yeah, it's true. We got plenty for that. We need to look it up. Would James Robinson be the guy?
Let's see. Let's see the severity of this AJ Dillon injury. I'll pull some stuff up on him real quick.
Because if that was truly the case, we take Brian Robinson out and go to James Robinson. That opens up 7,500 for the flex. That gets us up into the Tony Pollard, George Kittle, DK Metcalf. You play one of these guys in the last game. Heck, we could go off of Terry down to Dotson and get Brandon Ayuk in here.
Ooh.
For the late game.
Ooh, I love Brandon Ayuk.
I love that. I was going to say, yeah. Oh, but that's what the James Robinson play.
That's with James Robinson.
Yeah. Man. Ooh.
So I don't know if that's an actual option or not. Just
I can tell you what, I'll be checking that running back status for the Packers all morning tomorrow. Because if that is the guy, that sounds you can make a lot of fun lineups with this.
4,500 opens up a lot. So let's go McLaurin because that's who was in here earlier. And I put Charbonnet in here because we're going to have some salary relief. It leaves us 6,200 in the flex. Isn't great.
Is it worth at this point, like moving off of either? Well, I would just say, for instance, Lamb, because that's. And is there a lesser Cowboy stack that would open us up for a better flex?
You could go Cooks, but I don't know. I think if you're getting there with Dak, I think it's
gotta
through
be
CD Lamb,
right? Yeah. Damn it! I almost went Sam Howell, guys. I feel like that would have been the easier way to go.
Charbonnet. I don't know how to spell his name.
We're looking at Dotson again. Watson. I feel like Dobbs and Reed have been better than Watson lately. Watson's basically touchdown reliant at this point.
Agreed. We could just hope Cooks has another freaking monster game.
Brandon.
So AJ Dillon has been a limited participant all week.
Did it say anything about backup?
Said his odds of playing are better than a coin flip. They also have elevated Patrick Taylor.
Okay, so probably not James Robinson.
Dang.
I'd say maybe not. Maybe not best to put all of our eggs in that
I do
basket.
think it would be smart to just grind the beat writers in the morning, though. Who's looking good in warmups? Who is doing
Right.
something they haven't been doing? Like those kind of things. Like because if you do get a super cheap running back in game number 1, it does open up the salary for the rest of the day.
Right. I mean, putting James Robinson in with the opportunity to put Brandon Ayuk into this lineup as well, I think could be worth it.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've had many games this year in my redraft leagues where one running back crap the bed, but my wide receivers more than made up for it. So, I love some Ayuk, but
I think if we knew it would be Robinson, I would like that more. I think right now it just feels really thin.
Yeah.
Because if AJ Dillon plays 65% of the snaps, and Robinson's not getting it done. You know what I mean? In a game, we expect him to be playing from behind most of the time, anyways.
Right.
So we're sitting here with Dobbs, Dodson, Cooks, Watson, Samuel.
I mean, maybe is it
Smith
Dobbs?
And Jigba.
Lee mentions
Let's
Dobbs
see.
has a TD 3 weeks in a row. Again, feels like insert same criticism I had for Watson. Maybe he's getting a few more targets, but we're going to need that touchdown for him to have an impact.
Yeah. I'm not in love with having 2 Packers receivers personally.
That's
I'm not either.
a good point. Yeah. So
the other thing we could do is we could go down to Seattle defense. Look, on FanDuel, defenses really don't matter that much. It's a couple sacks. Touchdowns are very fluky. 3,300. We're saving $7K off of the Lions. That gets us to Debo, Brian Robinson, Tyler Lockett range. We could go that route instead.
Don't hate that. I mean, yeah, if it's not going to burn us too much on the defensive end, those guys, there's a lot of guys there. Robinson sticks out the most to me personally, but
Brian Robinson.
I kind of like Debo.
Like Debo?
Yeah.
So it would give us a.
Oh yeah, because we don't have Ayuk. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Dak, Lamb, Ferguson, with a Terry McLaurin bring back. And then the first game, we have a skinny stack with David Montgomery and Jaden Reed. And then the last game, we've got Charbonnet with Debo and the Seattle defense. It's a well-constructed team. Like, it makes sense in that. Like, you've got a running back, wide receivers, stack. You've got a game stack with a bring back. Just game theory-wise and lineup building-wise, it makes a lot of sense.
I like it.
We like it. I'm going to lock it in.
Let's do it. Nice.
All right, boys. We are at a 2-hour mark. You guys want to shut it down?
Shut her down.
Shut it
Heck
down.
yeah.
Let's go enjoy Thanksgiving.
That's right.
Yeah. Only 10:15 Central Time. Plenty of Skanksgiving left.
It's early, baby.
Plenty left. Kev, before we get out of here, go ahead. Tell the people where they can find you, when they can find you, and all the good stuff you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, on most Thursdays, but not tomorrow, happy Thanksgiving, you can find me right here on Bite Size Sports with James and Keebler talking hoops on the bounce. You can also find me talking Colts football here on Bite Size Sports, but also on the Horseshoe Pride podcast on the Pro Sports Fans app. Also, outside of the sports realm, you can find me on the Clout Route podcast. I'm one of the 2 bald cartoons up there on the wall where we talk about, this is comedy podcast. We just cover all the wild happenings of the internet, clout chasers, scammers, all kinds of fun stuff. And of course, I am calling fights for Carnage Media most Saturday nights. So check that out at Carnage Media Pay-Per-View. But thank you guys both so much for having me. This has been a blast. I appreciate you educating me in the daily game a little bit.
Oh yeah, of course, man. Playoffs are right around the corner. We got a lot of playoff DFS, a lot more playoff underdog we got to get through.
Plenty.
It's gonna be a good time. You guys can always find me over on X at TrevorS_FF. I will make note that might have been the first time I actually said X and not Twitter. So I am getting better. I'm not a
November
boomer
22nd.
anymore. I'm getting up with the times now. I am, adjusting. So here I am saying X finally and not Twitter. Yes, find us obviously here on ADP. Rumbles of Red has not been out the last couple weeks. Just happens. I do have some playoff best balls I want to be running and some more DFS stuff. So hopefully I'll get back at it here before too long. I appreciate you all being here with us. Hopefully we got a little closer to that 600 subscribers. If you haven't yet subscribed, please go over to YouTube. Even if you're an audio listener, we appreciate our audio listeners. They're consistent every single week. But go over to YouTube one time, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a lot.
100%. Kevin, thanks again for joining us tonight. It was such a pleasure to spend Skanksgiving with you, man, and talk this football and everything. You can find me. We drop episodes for the Fastest 40 at the Fastest_40 on X every Tuesday and Friday for the most part, unless the Chiefs play one of those off Thursday or Monday games. That's brought to you by Odyssey Sports, so that you'll find us on YouTube there. And then, of course, every Wednesday for ADP. So follow the show on Twitter at ADP Podcast_FF, and follow Bite Size at Bite_Size Sports on X as well. That way you can get all of the different shows that are on the network dropping and joining on those live streams and getting those links in. So, ton of fun this week, guys. A little extra long show. Hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where. I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George. I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse. I'm ready for war. I'm coming for throats to turn to a ghost. I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them